Okay, we got somebody that's gonna run a test.
With Muha having a baby, he gets a free pass tonight?
I don't know, he didn't say why he couldn't make it. He's probably gotta bring a
Had a
bag.
napkin for the first time.
He's probably changing diapers.
I know when my wife had baby, I was in a Laughlins.
Exactly. You weren't home, were you?
No. Those were the dark days,
I
though.
was at Danny's bar.
Dan Dynemeyer is going to go over this quiz, which is Jeff Muha sent us. I also have a quiz, and if we have time, Billy, we'll go over that as well. So, Dan?
First question, 4th and 14, A16. Punish caught by B37 on the 50. He advances to the A2 where he is down. He made his flag for an illegal motion foul. During B37's return, B86 held on the A4. Time expires in the first half during the down. Solution?
B's option.
Offset.
If B accepts the first penalty, then they offset, you replay the down. If they take the first penalty, you give the defense the opportunity to decline the second penalty, and the half would be over. Otherwise, you're going to replay the down. Or actually, yes, what's the third one?
A can also decline and we go halftime.
Yes.
Yeah, this half is going to be over.
The half is likely going to be over. If he tried to accept the offsetting falls, all he has to do is snap and take a knee in the half. So they choose that. So
Can't A decline B's penalty?
can A decline B's penalty? If he accepts,
If B accepts offsetting fouls, or declines offsetting fouls, so they can keep the ball and extend for a period.
B can choose offsetting and replay the down.
Right, but then A
All
would,
he has to do is take a knee. They don't even have to kick because it's no time down.
why couldn't A decline? If they, that's in my rationale, that's why they have to be over. If B tried to decline offsetting fouls so they get the ball, then A could decline their penalty.
Right, but B can choose to replay the down with offsetting fouls. Right?
Yeah.
B did not foul prior to the change of possession. I mean, B can accept it and be an untimed down, but all he has to do is snap and take a knee. You don't even have to.
Right.
Yes, the likelihood is half, so it's the likely answer. Second question, 4th and 4 on the B40. Teammate is in scrimmage kick punt formation, and the linemen are lined up in this order from left to right. A22, A16, A60, A61, A50, A70, A81. A61 is the snapper, his hands are on the ball. Prior to the snap, A22 backs up into the backfield and sets uncovering interior lineman A16, and A73 moves forward between A70 and A81. The ball is snapped to the punter who completes the pass to A81 at the B30 where he is tackled. A16 contacted the defender and drove him downfield to the B37. Blue clock status. That's a mouthful. Thoughts?
He's frozen once he lays his hands up.
Okay, so we're hearing legal formation, we're hearing OPI. Anybody got legal play? Thank you. Why is it a legal formation?
It's a numbering exception.
He's locked in.
So even though at the snap, there's 5 guys 50 through 79, you still have a legal formation, right? Right. Because, all right, once the center puts his hand on the ball, they're locked. So A16 is going to be an eligible receiver. He's an interior lineman. He cannot be on the end. Right? So there's the foul. What about the block? What about his block? Is that OPI?
No, because there was 3 yards.
He's an interior lineman. He didn't go beyond 3 yards, right? So that's okay. Right? So so the answer is going to be
4th and 9.
at the B45. What about the clock? Snapper line. Line. We did not have a kick during the down. If we did have a punt, we go snap, but because we did not have a kick delay, we will go line. Okay. Try the B3, order A4 gets out of bad snap and tries to run for the score. A4 fumbles at the B5 and tries to keep A4 from recovering his own fumble. B42 bats the ball back into the end zone. B18 recovers while grounded.
Spring?
Got a touchback, anything else? You have try over,
1 point safety.
1 point safety.
I got 1 point safety. I just have this now.
He's correct.
That's legal, but.
Bad, yeah, the bad is legal. Jim says over here, but
It's on the ground, impetus is now ready by.
You're right.
changes the impetus. Now it goes to B and it's at 1.6.
He is responsible for the ball being in the end zone. So the end of the play is a safety because it's.
I'm sure he did that.
39 at the B21, eligible receiver A88 is held by B20 at the B8. Quarterback A12 scrambles and fumbles at the B28. B55 recovers at the B26 and runs to the A48 where he is tackled. Through the clock status.
And the related one. What's in the we don't have line of scrimmage. So the legal force not previous.
The legal forward pass.
Which one
Do we have a pass?
No, we don't find that. Are we doing 4? Yeah.
So we're 4.
But you can put it in. You can put it in 4.
We have a hole against no mercy. We don't have strikes, so it's an automatic. County will give us the first down. This is a hold on running play because the run ends behind the previous spot. We don't enforce the previous spot, right? Right. So we go with the clock. Okay. 30 goal at the B7, late first quarter, teammate trailing by 4 points, and out of timeouts, quarterback A7 is hurried, throws a pass to B5, completed in the end zone to A86, who loses his helmet after being legally contacted while attempting to catch the ball. The game clock reads 4 seconds at the end of the play. The game clock status. And that
Helmet, I got the ball because touchdown.
touchdown.
I think you're gonna work. I got to play with that. I get my, I get
All right, so Jason says we have a legal forward pass, but because the end of the play is a touchdown, we don't do this out of 10. Right? So Jason, what are you doing on the clock? You want your snap? So the play is a touchdown, it's a snap. That is correct. So we're gonna go, we're gonna enforce the 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Toss it down, 4th down, no zap 10, clock goes on snap. Okay. 4th and 8 at the B14, we're in the 3rd overtime series. Team B leads 13-10. Quarterback A11 takes the snap of a shotgun formation, throws the ball to the back corner of the end zone. Receiver A88 leaps an attempt to catch the pass, secures the ball, is coming back to the ground, and his right foot touches in the end zone. As his left foot is coming to the ground, B6 knocks A88 backwards. As A88 hits the ground, the ball becomes loose and rolls to the back of the end zone. Incomplete. Anybody have anything other than incomplete pass? Right? Process of the catch has not been completed. It's an incomplete pass. 38 at the A12 score is A28, B27. Team B is 1 timeout remaining. A12 is down for no gain. During the rough, they're down. B96 helmet comes off. There were no fouls on the play. The game clock shows 46 seconds before the quarter when the down ends. The game clock and play clock status.
Reset the game clock. It's 36.
Okay, so you're gonna be helmet off. Tap 10 on play?
Yes.
Yep. And the play clock goes to?
40.
Okay, so you run the clock out, because it's not 19, so.
Half over.
Snap the ball.
8:30 in A12, same score. Team B has no timeouts remaining. A12 is down for no gain and loses his helmet. Also during the down, B96 helmet comes off. No fouls on the play. The playing clock shows 46 seconds before the quarter when the down ends. Same question, game clock status. We have the Zap 10 here?
No.
Game clock is?
25.
And the play clock?
40.
Somebody's got to snap the ball.
All right, I normally create a quiz, and so I did. I guess, where's Jeff getting these quizzes from?
Must be that one you got the clock quiz off of me, possibly that info quiz possibly. I mean,
Okay.
a couple of these questions were from Gilbert, but not all of them.
You get our reference where you got it.
He put this together from Ron Gilbert. He pulled different, pieces together.
Okay, well, that's what I do. So I have, we're gonna do this, Bill?
Yeah.
Okay. These are various questions. 4th and 10 from the B40. A12 completes a pass to A87, who fumbles on the B4. 87 recovers in the end zone. B55 rough A12. What's the clock status? So we got a forward fumble that goes into the end zone. So, a 4th down fumble that goes into the end zone. So is that a touchdown? No touchdown. So where are we going to force the penalty?
The B4?
Not there yet.
We're going to force it from the.
Going to force on the B4?
The end of the run.
Right, end of the
Related
last run. Their last run. So if this was not a 4th down, where would we enforce this penalty? Then on the try or the kickoff, right? Okay. Right, but in this case, you're not, so we're going to go half the distance to the 2. And is it a touchdown?
No.
No, so we're not going to go on the snap, we're going to go on the ready. Okay? So we got 1st down and goal from the 2, clock on the ready. Okay? 4th and goal to B11, ace field goal attempt strikes the ground beyond the neutral zone and bounces back behind the neutral zone. B96 muffs the ball on B13 and the ball rolls out of bounds on B9. This is a tricky question, and I got it wrong because
This is the new.
Yeah, what? I put it on 20,
This is,
right?
but no, this is loose behind the line. Last touch by B.
It went beyond the neutral zone.
Q and Tony say this is going to be on the 20. Everybody agree with that?
Why not?
Okay.
Yeah,
It's not the new rule.
It's got to be the new.
It's not.
Tommy ain't smart enough to put the new rule question in.
At first I was looking at it, but it's a trick question.
What does the new rule say?
The ball crossed the line of scrimmage.
Correct.
Touch something beyond the line of scrimmage, it's not good.
Untouched by B.
Untouched by B, it's a field goal that is unsuccessful.
But also the ball went out of bounds beyond the line of scrimmage. It went out in the 9. The ball gets snapped at the 11.
Oh, I'm going, wait a minute.
You want to try these?
So what the rule says is that,
It didn't go out behind. It went out beyond.
what the rule says is that
So
if the ball is touched by B beyond the neutral zone, it has nothing to do with if the kick crossed the neutral zone, which is what got me confused. B touched the ball behind the neutral zone, so they still have the option to take it on the 20.
I thought once it was beyond.
That's not what the rule says. The rule says B cannot touch the ball beyond the neutral zone. They did not touch it. They touched it behind the neutral zone. So it has nothing to do with the kick crossing the neutral zone, and that's where it gets confusing. Everybody okay with that? That's,
You gotta take your time.
it is a weird rule. It's not that the ball crosses and B touches it. It's that B has to touch it beyond the neutral zone. Okay. All right, 3rd and goal on the B4. A16 throws a backward pass on the B6. B99 bats the backward pass in flight. At the B8, the ball goes into and out of B's end zone. What do we got? This sounds like the one we had in the other quiz, but there's a difference. Batted it forward, so there's no foul for batting. All right, did he change the momentum or the impetus?
No.
It's a, you can batting a pass in flight does not change the impetus. So what do we got? Touchback?
It can't be incomplete, it's backwards. It was a backward pass. He's backward. Bats the backward
It's a
pass.
backward pass, so it's a live ball. I mean,
So what is it, is that impetus or not?
no, doesn't change the impetus.
So
He
then,
batted in flight.
this is. So he threw, so
Batted the ball forward, batted in flight. Nothing wrong.
So basically, Ace throws it, basically Ace threw it out of bounds. Incomplete pass, like an incomplete backward pass.
Not incomplete.
No, backward pass, it's
No, I'll
not incomplete. It's a backward pass.
No, where are my bills?
Okay. Any questions? Anybody okay on that? Where's Sarno? You okay on that? Just seeing if you're paying attention, Paul. I'm with you all the way, 100%. Okay, free kick.
If you remember years ago, Maine had that play where they
No. I got
put the ball up in the air and batted it into the end zone, and the Maine player caught the ball, and it was a 2-point score years ago. They changed the whole thing.
Yeah, you can't bat it forward now.
Was that 1940?
Yeah, right. I was gonna say, how long ago was that?
That's still officiating.
It was a while ago. Okay. Free kick from the A35, A6 kick is high and short, A88 leaps on A47 near the sideline and bats the ball backward to A42 or A77 recovers. So, is he eligible to touch the ball? Yes, it's gone 12 yards. So his touching is okay. And A77 recovered. So without anything else, ace ball, correct? All right. But we have something going on here. 2 Team B players are in the immediate area to catch the kick, but a fair catch signal was not given by either player. Do they have to give a fair catch signal? Do they have? No. So we have what? Kick catch interference. And that's a spot foul 15 yards from where?
That's a spot of thought.
From where? It would be from the A47, correct?
It would be from the immediate area.
Yeah. What? What's going on, Bill?
This is my granddaughter's system here. And I look at what?
Oh, it's what the fuck, Grandpa?
Nothing.
Tommy's old enough to be your grandson.
Yeah, could they have Tony here? No. He said, you're old enough to be my grandfather.
That's true. So treat her with respect.
I'll try it. All right, number 6. 2nd and 8 from the A32. A16's legal forward pass is muffed by 88 on the 38. So it's a forward pass. It's across the line of scrimmage. Eligible A2 pushes it, B94 in the back on A36. He catches the pass while grounded. Can he do that? Right. You can illegally push someone in the back to get to a pass, cover a fumble, kick that you're eligible to recover. Right. Right. After it's
He
been
pushes
touched.
them below the waist.
I don't think that's legal. Sounds like a clip to me.
Pushing, this is pushing it back. Button was like,
I'm saying it's a clip. Anybody else?
If it's below, yeah, of course, by definition.
What do you say, Dan? If the guy pushes him below the waist, can't do it. Is that okay, Tony? Okay. All right, 4th and 6, last one. B36, A29 runs to the B26 where he fumbles. B73 catches or recovers a fumble, advances to B22 where he fumbles. A63 catches or recovers a fumble on B27 and advances into B's end zone. Okay, it's 4th down. Touchdown? What about the 4th down fumble rule?
Change of possession.
4th down fumble rule applies prior to change of team possession. So that's why I put it in there. And that's that. What?
If a B guy recovers and then fumbles, can his teammate recover and run?
Yeah, there's no 4th down only applies to the offense. 4th down fumble rule, as far as I know. Okay, that's it for the quiz, Bill. What's next?
Where are we on Zoom?
It's recording, but for some reason I couldn't get the cameras to work, so it's just recording the voice and what's on the screen there. I hope it's recording what's on the screen.
You want to hold a few bars about it, or you want me?
What I'm trying to do here, and it worked well at home. This worked perfectly when I had it at home. I don't know why I brought it here, and I'm not sure why it's not working. But what I'm trying to do is to record our meetings, so you can see that the attendance is a little skimpy. So people that miss the meetings, I'm recording it, and right now, what's up there is not what's on my screen, so I'm hoping it's recording that. I hope. Yeah, well, I'll figure it out. So we're experimenting with it to put it online, put the meeting online, so everyone who doesn't come to the meeting can see what we've done at the meeting. And I have cameras here that when I had it at home, it worked, so I could actually record the person that's speaking. So I'll continue to work on that. But I didn't have it hooked up to this, so maybe that's what's messing it up. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to work on that.
Okay, to Tom's point, the declining of our meetings attendance, we got to do something. We got to do something. You know, understand. You got families. You got business commitments. You can't always make the meeting. But when Tom told me about this, I went in and did some experimenting on my own. It looks like a good product, and I like Jason and Bob Colombo, Tommy, Sagapo, Boyd. They ran their regional meeting using this product. Okay, so Jason, could you tell us how you handle your end of it when you got it?
Well, Tom sent me the link for, just sent me a simple email with the link, told me what time to sign on. I downloaded the app on my phone. And then what I did is I put a HDMI wire into the back of my phone and ran Zoom, and then put that on my big screen TV at my house. So I could see the video, I could see Dr. Tom, I could see everybody when they were talking, and I could see the video, the questions, the video. These guys could hear me talk. Communication was, I mean, you guys could hear me, right, Dr. Tom? Yeah. I could hear everything that was going on. There was no delay. The video quality was really good. It was nice.
What's it like, Skype?
Yeah.
Skype is a person-to-person platform, but there's GoToMeeting, there's Zoom Meeting, there's a bunch of other. This is just one format that I use with my online students that have office hours. So we do it with our meetings because Colombo, for the most part, Colombo is in Brooklyn all week. So he can attend our meetings. And Jason, now he's about an hour and a half from us. So he can attend it without having to travel and really not miss anything, participate fully.
But what I would anticipate is, I did a little experimenting. I got a laptop and a desktop and a phone. I hooked them all up. Within about an hour, I had it going. I wasn't sure whether, you know, if a student can talk to the teacher and the student can hear the other students, okay? If that's true, what I'm envisioning is if you guys are willing, we'll buy the software, the chapter, and we'll give each crew access to it. And then you can communicate during the week between games, and you got clips, you can show a clip, you can run documents off of CFO or whatever. You know, in other words, you want it to leave your house to communicate. Not only for the regional meetings, but for the crew meetings. Now, this is going to be risky in that we won't get anybody at the meetings, but the key, I think, is going to be that we've got to have someone and a backup probably on each crew that's willing to take this on and to, you know, execute. Tommy's going to do it for his crew.
I was just gonna nominate him.
My friend.
Pardon?
But on, how are they gonna get it?
Make everybody.
People that are on crews, I think we can invite them to go to whatever crew they want, and they can, you know, just critique, give them that, whatever they want to do.
He got this at work, Apple and Microsoft, all that.
Yes. Did everything. It's called Zoom.us. I went on Zoom.us, downloaded software, it took me about 10 minutes. And Jason set it up on his phone, like he said, and he brought a connection between his phone and his TV, so he could just hook it up and he could hear it via his phone, that iPhone, right?
Yeah, Android.
And with his HDMI connection, hook in the back of your TV, so you can sit there, pop up your ears and watch the meeting. I passed out the full report and the little card to give to the coaches, for the referees that are here, and to Denny, I'll give it to Rick. I don't know how we're going to handle the subs for Q. You guys know the same guy's going to be.
They haven't posted any, other than one game, Steve Levine out of Long Island. We're still.
Two.
Yeah,
Eric's on the game too.
Oh, he is.
And then Terry Fowler's got the scrimmage Sunday.
Barry's
So what do you think? Rich going to be on all the games?
I am on all games but one.
Does it make sense to give Rich Clark and Tommy Mooney offered their volunteers?
No.
To give us a synopsis of the recap of the clinics that they attended. Now, they're on our website, so if you can't remember what they say tonight, we'll go in there and see the link. So, can you quickly go through it, Rick?
Yeah. Sorry, I could steal the thunder here. So let's go real quick. Bill Ward, we all heard the same thing. We're not going to talk about all the stuff Bill talked about in terms of how good we are, we got more money, all that BS. But here's what the changes that Bill wants this year versus years before. Let's talk about the coaches first. Bill's made a complete about face on coaches. And this is coming out of course, Indianapolis and everything else. In years past, Bill did not want us to throw an unsportsman on a coach if he goes over the line. This year, Bill's going to support us on any unsportsman penalties on coaches. If a head coach or a member of the coaching staff goes over the line and we've worked it up the line, Bill wants the 15-yard unsportsman call. That's the bottom line. So if he does make that call, what he is looking for is for the referees to make sure he gets a notification to him after the game as part of the report. He is going to support that one, so he doesn't want to call it every game, but he said he will support that. Let's talk about the easy ones. Again, he's going to stay with the same exact viewpoint he had in years past on a punt. If the person that's receiving the punt catches the ball and there's no contact, he does not want a KCI flag. So if the receiver catches the ball, we're going to hold the flag. If he brushes him or makes contact, Bill expects a flag. Okay? So that's consistent. Bill talked quite a while about blocks, and we went over the films. he talked, and this is really directed more at the umpires, but he's talking about it overall. He felt there were too many calls made last year away from the point of attack. What Bill's focusing on, he wants to see it. If it shows up on a film clip that Bill gets, and we all saw the 40 film clips that Bill showed, he wants that penalty. If it's at the point of attack, he wants it to show it at the point of attack. He doesn't want to see play here and a foul here. He felt there were too many of those last year. And he also spent quite a bit of time talking about pass interference.
I can't find it, Bill.
Ironically, I don't think in our group, I'm guessing that we probably did not have too many pass interference calls last year. But according to Bill, in the group that he assigns in the schools who reported to him, Bill felt fairly strong that there were too many pass interference calls. So he wants each crew to go over, part of the pregame, he wants us to go over advantage, disadvantage, and disadvantage on a pass interference. He doesn't want us not to call it. He'd like to see the number he had last year brought down. Now let's talk about, that's pretty much a recap of everything Bill talked about, other than a couple little things. He did go over, though, the changes to the CCA manual and some of the important parts. And this is worth talking about. This is important for this year. One, CCA manual, we all know there's about 40 changes. The most important one, there's probably 5 or 6 we're going to talk about. If we have a punt this year that's inside the 5-yard line, he wants the spot where the ball becomes dead, he wants that ball marked there. He does not want us to bring the ball to the next tip. What Bill's basically saying is he wants us to follow the CCA manual per diem, right on the CCA manual. So if you have a ball, and I specifically asked, if you have a ball on the half-yard line, where are we marking the balls? He said the half-yard line. Bill's going to support that. He talked about the coaches. He talked about the out-of-control coaches. Bill talked a little bit about communication. Bill said one of the biggest complaints that he had with coaches is that we had officials that did not want to go over and communicate. So if Bill has a crew, he expects who's ever there to go over and communicate with the coach. Whatever the penalty is, he wants us to communicate with coaches. Now, let's talk about the CCA manual, the most important changes that we have this year. The referees, let's look at the ones that really are the ones that stand out. One, referees this year, the CCA manual wants referees to the right side of the quarterback this year. So you referees, you white hats, if you have a left-handed quarterback, he wants you on the right side. He does not want you on the throwing side. That's a change from last year. Tony, I'm assuming that's probably because of the eighth official. That's why they're
assuming. I had a scrimmage this week at the Hampshire where I had a left-handed quarterback. It's fucked up.
Yeah, that's a screwed up mechanic.
I mean, it's screwed.
It's really weird.
And I think they just assume that because of the eighth official. There's a couple more in there that I think.
Yeah, I've got them written down. They're really weird.
It's
Same thing with the kicker. How about the kicker? They want referees now on the right, so you referees, the white hats, he wants it on the right side of the kicker, not on the kicking side of the kicker. So now, again, our white hats are going to be looking across, and if it's a left-footed kicker, you're not going to see the foot. So now you've got to pretty much make your decision on what you got. Again, I'm assuming it's because of the eighth person. The one that I thought every crew should talk about, and I think we should talk about it tonight, the CCA manual this year is saying that they want the referee coming, I don't know if you did this in your scrimmage, but on any scoring play, they want the referee to stand in between the snapper and the holder and hold the play until the entire crew's set and then come back and blow it ready for play. That's what the CCA manual is saying.
That's basically because of replay.
Okay.
I don't know that Bill Ward will enforce that.
Okay.
What they want us to do is, after every scoring play is reviewed by a replay, and they want to make sure that that person on the sideline is giving us the ready to go. So I want the referee to stand there. If you don't have replay, I don't think that's a problem.
Great. Umpires, two changes that I think stand out. One, for the two umpires that are here. This year, you're lining up 8 to 10 yards deep. Last year, you were 5 to 7. Whether that changes much. The other one that changes quite a bit, and this is different. Last year, the 5-yard line was our line of demarcation for both side judges, field judges, and umpires. This year, it's a 7. So for umpires, anything inside the 7-yard line or outside the 7-yard line, let's see, no, inside the 7, you have got the leap pass going across the neutral zone. As well, for side judge and field judge, if the ball is outside the 7, now we stay on the goal line. We have goal line responsibility. That's different than last year. Back judges, for you back judges, our referees now want the notification, the thumbs up on 30 seconds instead of 50. So for all these years, we always gave thumbs up to referee when it hit 50. Now the CCA manual wants it done on 30. We talked about side judge, field judge. The other thing that it talked about in the book, we talked about the 7 yards. According to the book, and again, this is a crude thing, it's saying that side judges would go with the swinging gate if we had a swinging gate and the umpire stays with the ball. It's kind of in the book. Again, I think that's a crude thing, but it is in the book. Head linesmen, line judges don't have a lot of differences this year. The main thing is that the official with the chains, who's ever standing with the chains, is going to mark the penalties off of the umpire. And then on reverse mechanics, this year, between the 3 and the 10-yard line, the line judge has the line of scrimmage and the head linesman has the goal line. Last year, it was reversed. And finally, my personal favorite. Last year, as we all know, the back judges had game ball responsibility. You got to check the balls and you were responsible for the balls. This year, geez, and I don't know where this came from. The CCA manual says all officials are responsible for balls. So what Bill Ward asked us to do in honor of the wonderful job that Walt Anderson did at the AFC Championship game this year, Bill would like he'd like each referee after you check the balls to put a WA on the ball in honor of Walt Anderson. Great job he did. That's all I got.
I also, there's one other major change as far as punts. Who's responsible for the shield? No longer the referee. Against the line judge. The referee is secondary out for whatever reason. I don't know why. But just be aware of that. The line judge is now responsible for the shield.
Good.
I didn't have a lot. I have some things. I thought I heard Bill, and my hearing's getting bad. I'm like Joe Wachowski, You know what I mean? Because is that you? What are you picking on me for, Tim? Jeez. All right. I've got the referee should move to the left side with a left-handed quarterback. The mechanic was changed because of the center judge, and we won't be using one. So that's what I took away from our meeting in Long Island.
You didn't mention that at all.
So I'm gonna use the same mechanic I've been using.
No, that's not our mechanic.
You guys are going with it?
I would prefer that, but that's not our
So you guys are going,
right side.
and you don't have center judges, do you? Yeah.
And I tell you, it's messed up.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Yeah. That's why I'm going to stay the way it is. Until somebody says, one of yours, not doing, same thing. I'm going to do what I always have done.
I would too.
Yeah, I believe that rule was changed for the center judge, and we don't have one.
They just missed it.
Yeah. At our meeting, Bill mentioned that there's a possibility this season we might get a championship game. Is that right, Tim?
Yeah.
Did you hear that also? Did he say that at your clinic?
Yeah. He didn't say it there.
Yeah, so, he also talked about hot sheets. It's basically for the referees to send a bill, ejections, Referee needs to fill out a form online, and don't throw out the coach. There's not a rule in that two unsportsmanlike on a coach, he gets ejected, is there? I don't think so. But they did that last year at St. Lawrence, my buddy. They threw him out of the game.
That was a high school rule, wasn't it, Tom?
What?
That a high school rule?
I believe it's a federation rule, yeah. That two unsportsmanlikes on the coach and you're ejected, but Bill does not want that happen. Two of the guys in that game didn't work again for the rest of the year, so that's how strongly Bill feels about it. Other than that, pretty much what Rich said. Sideline control. We had a sideline issue in our playoff game, and we probably messed up. We threw MIT was marching down the field trying to tie the game up with less than a minute to go, and a guy came up and got in Timmy's ear. I don't know what he said, but it was pretty bad. So I figured, here's a guy that's worked the national championship. And I said, if he's this pissed off, must be something bad going on over there. So we enforced a 15-yard penalty, which got MIT within field goal range. They kicked it and tied it up, and then of course they won in overtime. That's a situation where it probably been better off if we threw the flag in for a five-yarder, but live and learn. Would you agree with that, Tim? Or no?
Well, it's one of those calls where you hate to have an impact on the game, but it was like, it was an assistant coach and he came firing up from out of nowhere almost.
Yeah, you can see him in the
Like,
film.
got right into my face.
Yeah, you can see it on the film.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Bill wants.
I'm sorry.
He supported it.
He supported it last year.
And the head coach didn't say anything.
No, he-
I went over and told him.
Yeah, he was okay. He saw me after the game. Said we worked a good game. So
Who's the coach? Is it to him?
all right, that's all I got. How do we do, Bill?
Okay, you're gonna go to the presentation?
Yeah, Dan's going to do pre-snap routines, and I just took it as on scrimmage plays, so that we all are on the same page for what we do prior to the snap. And I know, that the film work that I did last year, I often saw umpires that would go looking for a ball, and there's still players on the ground. I would see guys out of bounds on the ground, and the side judge looking for a ball, and the guys are still on the ground. So we have to really be dead ball aware, because that's when crap happens. I had a Marist game last year where the side judge threw a flag in my backfield because one lineman punched another lineman. The side judge, who was like 40, 50 yards away, threw a flag for two linemen fighting, and they were behind me. And I asked him, I said, I can't believe you threw that flag. He says, I got nothing else to look at. Because the quarterback was moving in front of me, so I was moving with the quarterback, so I was not looking. It was my key too, but once the quarterback started moving away, I left my key, which I'm supposed to do. So anyway, we are doing pre-snap routines, and I'm talking referee, and Tony, please jump in, but I sent something to Todd. He didn't send anything back to me. Sent something to Tony. He came to the meeting, and I sent something to Eddie Ardidio, because Eddie's a friend of mine. And I guess he's not in the ACC, he's in the AAC. Yeah. So I read that wrong. But this is what this is what he does after the plans. He looks at the results of the play, and he's with the next down in distance, and he'll confirm it with the H.
Appreciate it.
Nice touch.
Jeez.
Tough for eggs to go.
Okay, my phone went off, all right? All right, one of the big things with me is that I'm usually looking at whoever's opposite the chains to help me out on whether it's a first down, close, take a look, things like that. So that's one of the big things for me is that, talk to me, let me know. If there's a no huddle or a huddle, it's a big difference. Remember that typically we're not going to use the iron cross unless it's a no huddle offense. So if the guys are huddling and they substitute and the sub goes in the huddle and the guy's got 3 seconds to leave, he comes out, we're not iron crossing that. But if there is a no huddle, now we have to be sure. I'm going to check, and this is our mechanic. Eddie wasn't sure it was everybody's mechanic. Tony, it's your mechanic. The guys are in the huddle, you're going to count them in the huddle, right? And you're going to give the 11 when they're in the huddle. If there's no huddle, then we're going to look to see if there are any subs coming in, and that's where the side guys can help, and I'm sure Danny's going to talk about that. But get our attention if we don't see it. This is the time where guys have a tendency to doze in between downs. They zone out, and we can't do that. I worked a game many years ago where we had 12 guys on the field, and the head linesman threw the flag. 3 deep guys didn't have on 3. There's 12 defensive guys, and head lineman threw the flag because Gus does something that I always do, and did 1 in, 1 out, 2 in, 2 out. It's just helpful. You still do that, Gus? Does anybody give you crap for it? No. But I like to do that. It just keeps me focused on substitutes. And one's coming in, one's going out. And I don't have to worry about, I know there's going to be 11 in the game. So guys can help, side guys can help us with that. Then for me as a referee, I look at the snap to make sure it's legal. After the snap, I decide whether it's a run or a pass. I'm going to look at my key. That's the first thing I'm going to do, which is my tackle, my opposite tackle. If he's being double teamed, if there's a double team, I'm going to go somewhere else, probably to my near side tackle. If it's a run, I'm going to go to the point of attack. And then if it's a pass, I'm going to look at my key, and then I'm going to go to my quarterback. Stay with him even after the ball is thrown. And this is what Eddie wrote. You don't want to be solely looking at your key, fall in love with him, because if you do miss either the offside defender or the blitzing linebacker in the middle, and the contact on the quarterback. So quarterback is our main thing. Tony, you want to add anything on pre-snap?
Just a couple things. I agree with mostly everything he said. End of the play, previous play, you're looking at the down and distance. You should always know the down and distance prior to the snap. You should always try to make eye contact with your head linesman prior to the snap. So head linesman, your referee's looking at you. Look back at him. Just give a head nod. Or line judge if you're on the chains. Because we're looking at you to make sure that we're both on the same page.
What do you do if it's, I'm trying to get short or long? I'm usually doing
I
this.
normally do
this.
I do short or long. Either way. Normally we start on tick so we know what's going on. Then I try to make eye contact with every official. We look at every official on the field to make sure that they're in position. As a referee, you should never be more than, less than 7 or 8 yards from the line of scrimmage at any given time, unless there's shit happening at the bottom, right? We're there to administer the game. Okay? I see a lot of referees running up to the pile, trying to get the ball, and trying to get people off the pile. Stand back. We're just there to administer the game. It gives you an easier way to count your players. If it's a no huddle, you see them subbing. I walk to the middle in between where the snapper and the quarterback are. Just if they're subbing, I'm going to give my arm across there so that my umpire can see me. And like Tom said, if it's a huddle team, there's no reason to give the iron cross because the teams are coming in the huddle, they're staying in their huddle for 5 or 6 seconds, which is giving the defense time to sub. So I know the mechanic is for you guys on the sideline every time you see a sub to come in, now you're giving us this. We don't need that if the team is huddled. Okay, I don't know what Bill Ward wants, if he wants that or not, right? I tell my guys if it's a huddle team, don't waste your time. They're in a huddle, and we don't have to worry about it. Pre-snap routine, I look at my left tackle, because that's the guy I'm looking at all game long, okay? There's a guy right over his head, and I know it's a passing situation, I'm going to stay with him a little longer. There's nobody on his head, I'm going to kind of look back and forth, I'm going to check my back to see if he's in that blocking zone. Okay, we got to get an idea of where he is. I work a lot wider than probably most of you. I'm between 12 and 13 yards wide. Okay, so if the ball's on the hash, I'm below the numbers on that sideline. The ball's on the other hash, I'm in between the numbers in the hash on the other side. I don't think you can be wide enough. Okay, the wider you are, the more of a perception you have, the perspective that you have of that whole line of scrimmage. Okay, it says that we watch that tackle. But if you're wider, you can see the guard, you can see the tight end, you can help out on all that stuff. Okay, so pre-snap, that's what I'm looking at. We all know that if it's 3rd and 8, it's more likely going to be a passing play. So we got to pay more attention to our quarterback. You got to know the situation. Okay, that guard will tell you exactly what the play is going to be. You see him step back and start pulling, you know it's more likely going to be a run, right? So a lot of that stuff.
Tony,
Yes, sir.
when you check to see if your other officials are in position, what you're doing that like 7 yards behind the center, if you will, and then when you see they're set, that's when you back off.
Correct. And look at me. I try to get you guys, I try to get my crew to look at me after every play. I know you guys got a lot to do. But I mean, it's awful. I know Tommy does it. He gives 11 when the team's in the huddle and he's looking at his head linesman and nobody's even looking at him. How often do you see that?
Happens a lot, you know.
I mean, it's not a warm, fuzzy feeling standing back there with your arm out and nobody's looking at you. Look at him. Just either nod at him or smile at him or something so we know you guys see him. I mean, it's so easy. We got 11. All you got to do is count 4. You know you got 7 on the line of scrimmage.
That linesman and line judge should be looking at that signal. Right, Gus?
Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and it's funny because I'm holding my 11 out and I see my head linesman doing this. And he's trying to see if he can see that little guard that's hidden in between. And I'm thinking to myself, you stupid bastard, I'm counting 4 backs. You got 7 guys on the line of scrimmage, right, Tom? I mean,
I was laughing at the stupid bastard count.
but it's true, right?
That's what I call Sarno when he takes a nap during the preview.
And
Hey, wake up, you stupid bastard.
but and as long as you're 7, 8 yards behind, we're administering the game. You can see everybody coming in and subbing. Okay, that's what we're doing back there. We don't need to run up, clean up the piles. That's what our umpires do.
Yeah, Tony made a good point is that especially after change of possession, after punt plays, kickoffs, we're not going to blow it ready for play until everybody's in position. And lots of times guys are taking their time going back to the position. I'm ready to blow it and play. And here's the guy with his back to me slowly walking back to his side judge position, back to his position. So you gotta back it up and looking at me. I think you're ready. I'm blowing it ready for play. So that's something that the deep guys should do. I hope you're interested in that, John. Okay. And then,
That's it on scrimmage plays. You don't want to go to punts or?
no. This is from Palumbo for umpires. Are there umpires here? There are no umpires here? Yeah.
Don't say you can't see me either.
You're a dickhead. Anyway, oh yeah, that's right, I'm recording.
See you. That was Dale Long I was referring to.
Okay. Pre-snap routines, the umpire, dead ball officiating, that's big. Don't get, I saw some film last year where umpires were getting too close to the pile, where stuff was happening. I think you got a better look if you're back a little further. Again, don't go looking for the ball right away. Make sure guys are getting up off the ground. That's where crap happens. Taunting, punching, all that stuff. Bobby has this thing, and I don't know if the rest of you umpires do this, but he tries to get the ball down at 33 seconds. That's his goal. 5 times a game he tries to beat, I don't know why, that's his goal, 5 times a game, to beat the clock operator, putting the ball down with 40 seconds before he starts the 40-second clock. I'd be cautious about that because that can get you in trouble if you're rushing too much. So I didn't know that was his goal until I saw this. So, no. Take it with a grain of salt.
Well, I think that goes back on what you're saying, let's not be over anxious to get the ball back in play and miss something. Severe penalty.
Right, we set the tone, pace of the game, not the team, so we don't have to, we get it down with 33 seconds, we're doing good. The rule now is, what's the rule for how many seconds? We have to, 25, right? We used to be an unwritten rule, 20 seconds. That we would reset the clock to 25 seconds.
Is Bill Ward having you stop the clock, reset it?
That's what I'm gonna do. I mean, he didn't really go into any detail about that.
Well, Tony, it's weird, the rule book, the NCAA rule book says timeout, and the CCA manual says don't timeout. The CCA manual is saying just go up with the 25, do not stop the game clock. I don't know, I think it's up to the referees.
And if he doesn't pump it, you're 25 and I'm pumping it and he doesn't do it.
I can feel it.
And Rich, the AR actually says don't kill either.
Don't kill either, right? That's what I was.
So referees, we're all gonna do that. We're gonna just give the 25 seconds, the clock operator doesn't, he's RPI, he's gonna.
And I mean, if a snap is intimate, let it go.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay, pre-snap substitutions again. The umpires really have to be aware of guys subbing and make eye contact with the quarterback with the referee, because we are the quarterback. Because lots of times I'll be yelling. Also, I'll be giving the Aaron Cross and yelling at the referee or the umpire. So that's big. I've seen where the coaches had to call a timeout, and he shouldn't have. In that case, if the coach calls a timeout, the umpire hasn't stopped the snap, I'm going to kill the clock, and I'm not going to. This is in the mechanics book. Kill the clock, and then I'm going to warn the coach about subbing late, because that could be a foul. next time it would be a foul. But then you don't charge the team, the defensive team a timeout. Counting men, umpires, body gives thumbs up. We all do that. Hands down for 10. She's got some other stuff here. He does some mental checks about line to gain, down and distance, because Tony said the referees need to do that as well. The head linesman, the line judge should be doing that as well. Bobby is a former coach, so he put this in, so he's aware of possible play situations. Jumbo, short yardage where they bring in 2 tight ends, bigger personnel. Open look is pass, a pro run, pro set could be a run or pass. He looks at the interior linemen. Do you do that, Dale? Do you look at, see whether they're in a passive stance or a aggressive stance, 3-point stance, or pass stance? So those are all keys that tell you what's going to want. He put this cadence one in, which was interesting because it happened in a game with us where we were up in Norwich and they did a fake punt. And Bobby called a pass interference because he knew, at least he thought he knew it was going to be a fake punt because they changed the cadence. He said the cadence was different on the punt. And he was right. It was a fake punt. So at the snap, you're looking for your 3 keys, 2 guards in center. We put this other stuff in near back, a flow side guard. Not sure. Told me what that meant. I wasn't sure. And then looking for false start contact. Dale, did you want to add anything? Things that you do pre-snap?
No, I just watched that center for that illegal snap. That's my first key.
Okay. Do you have any goals of putting the ball down?
I used to try to be like a rabbit, but I stopped that because it was.
You get in trouble.
Right, you get in trouble.
I don't have any thing in writing for the side guys, so Dan.
Echoing a lot what Mark and Tony, or Tom and Tony had said earlier about it all starts with the dead ball officiating. So when the play is over, they're not even going to start really doing anything until there's no threat of a foul, so they get separated. One of the important things that we do during the dead ball period is communication. Coaches and get back coaches, start with them. I try to engage my get back coach to make sure he can keep my sideline clear about the game and avoid that problem. That's a goal I always try to set with him. As far as head coaches, again, you want to communicate calmly, respectfully, never get argumentative. And a lot of times I'll work with my deep guy, especially under 2 minutes, to make sure that at the end of every play, one of us has eyes on him when he wants that timeout. It's really critical, and nothing looks worse than he's trying to call timeout and he burned like 10 seconds because he wants to really looking in. So that's something, the deep guy I'll work with him is that whoever's primary is going to stay with the play, secondary is going to run that timeout with the coach. So again, we'll kind of work on my talking and communicating. So after the play is over, this got said before, but even more so for the wing guys, down in distance, I always want to know my yard line to gain. That rate is 42, it's 34. And if I'm on the chain side, I try to engage that dialogue with the box guy. Every play I try to engage, have him tell you, you're snapping on the 34, the line to gain is at 42, and that's 2. It keeps you in the game, but it also helps him keep that dialogue so that you're both in the game. Substitutions, I think, is pretty much well documented. We want to catch them on the sideline. Late subs, or in our hurry-up offense, we will high and cross. Mechanic this year, if teammate goes out on their sideline and they are running a no-huddle offense, we're going to give the high and cross substitution signal. Prior to the snap chains, let's make sure our chains are right, boxes in the right down. one comment earlier is, so most of the officiating we do is during the dead ball period. And, they say that if you're not mentally exhausted by the end of the game, then you haven't been thinking about everything you need to be thinking about in the game. That's, front right. We don't want to, be taking place off in between. So we got the change right. We want to make sure everybody's within the 9-yard marks. They're tagging up. Then we're going to break. We're going to pick up the referee's count. We're going to count our backs. We're going to find our keys, our numbers. We'll help align the widest guy, give them our foot. If they're unbalanced, we want to make sure we give a clear signal. And the reason we do this, if anything, is to remind you, is I want to know is it a tackle over? That's fine. If it's the tight end, I want to make sure that number, I got that number in the event that if he's covered and he runs out for a pass, we have this, I want to make sure I'm giving that correct. And hopefully if the downfield guy is seeing the cover-up signal too, if that's his key, he can pick up on that as well.
Are you giving the downfield, are you giving the cover-up signal to the downfield, or are you giving it upfield?
I'm giving it toward the downfield. I want my other free hand in case I get a punch or signal, but yeah, it's always downfield. Counting the backs, communicating with the other wing. If my key is a back, I'm not thinking chop block all the way. He's the one that if he's like in the line, my tackle, and then you want to make sure that he's not a threat to a chop block. Ball, tackle, right out. We take down the umpire's keys on the center of the 2 guards. Put the key for the tackle over. Motion past the snapper. Guy in motion likely, in most cases, is going to change the keys. So the thing is, I got to be aware of is that if he goes in motion, does my key change? And I got to pick that up. If the motion guy was number 2, he's my key, and then he goes past the center. Okay, in the strength of formation. I got to be able to know, is my key now the tackle, is 2? Again, we always want to make sure we have the right key. We're always going to think about the crackbacks, the chops, especially if there are keys involved. If our key is not pressed, stay with my tackle a little longer. Until my key is pressed, then I'll go to the key. If the key is pressed on the line, he gets the priority over the tackle. Okay? Once we get down to the B7, I'm going to confirm with my field judge. My goal line, I'm going to tell him, we're going to back that off. I'm also going to communicate to my umpire that he's got line of scrimmage going in the B7 because I got to get to the goal line. So every play, I'll let my umpire just remind him he's got line of scrimmage. Outside the 7, I'll communicate with my field judge. I got the spot to the 2. He's got from inside the 2 to the 1. If the line of game is within the 2, I will remind him that if he's stopping the clock to kill it for a first down. So again, always talking with him, reminding him, kill the clock, we have a first down for the game. And the other thing is a line judge, you always got to do it with a signal for the backwards pass. So you got to always think, as soon as you see a quarterback, as soon as I see his shoulders turn to me or facing me, I'm thinking backwards pass. I got to be able to give that punch signal to the backfield. Okay, and then you got to roll, and then hopefully the wing guy on the other side picking up that signal. And he's going to, if he sees the punch back, he's not going to roll complete. If it's that foot throw to the side, he can have that all day. But usually it's off the shotgun. Typically that they will kind of drop the ball guy down. I'm also thinking to myself whether the pass is caught up touch behind the line of scrimmage. I just keep a signal to myself because what happens oftentimes is you'll have a play that runs downfield, a back judge will come and say, is that ball touched behind the line? Thinking, so you're trying to remember, was it or not? So I make a little signal for myself. I'll just touch my belt buckle. It's not an approved sign. It's just a reminder to me that the ball is touched behind the line of scrimmage. So if they do come and ask where it was, I can tell them with pretty good confidence behind the line, beyond the line. Pretty much it for the pre-snaps.
One thing nobody mentions so much, clocks.
Yep.
All gotta do
Very good question.
I'm sorry. When you're a side judge, you're a side judge, you should have a clock.
Do the rest of mine now.
Everybody else has clocks. we put a lot of burden on you.
Mark, you got anything else?
Well, yeah, just pre-snap, I'm always talking to myself, making sure, just like you said, we got count 4 backs. I even talk to myself with, everybody set for a second. I might even give myself 1001. Okay, now somebody goes in motion, we're all set, stuff like that. I'm always talking to myself, trying to make sure that I know that I have 4 guys in the backfield. And knowing my key. We're pretty much went over the key, so I don't really think there's too much else. But I do try to make eye contact every play with the referee, no matter what side of the field I'm at. And I like to make eye contact. The only person I really don't talk to most of the game is the back judge, and I try to, but I never can get anybody to talk back to me.
Jeff asked me to fill in for back judge, inside judge and stuff, and I know I'm not the most experienced, so I'm going to rely on you guys. He wanted it more interactive, but since WNE's here, he's going to just do whatever he wants. I'm not going to go over keys and all this stuff. There's just a few things on this slide that I thought were important to talk about. And not all this stuff. And I'll try to be brief and get out of here. We were talking pre-snap, so none of this stuff was really.
Is there anything in this PowerPoint that
No. The first one is under process. Never officiate with an empty head. Jeff was talking, I talked to him for a good while on the phone about it, and a lot of it is your football knowledge has to come into play. Every down and distance, like we talk about, know what the down and distance is, recognize the formation, know their tendencies. So hopefully someone has done a scouting report, know who, their go-to guy is. And if he's your key, you're going to sharpen your pencil on that play a little bit more. Like Gus just said, you have an internal conversation with yourself on every play. And that's all in that mentality of what's going on. You can't just show up and officiate. You got to have a little sense of what's going on in the game. Bobby Palumbo sometimes incorporates too much in his head, and that's what gets him in trouble. He thinks still too much like a coach. But it's a good, and he's going to be pushing that more football knowledge. Pre-snap, your keys and press coverage. For us deep guys, you're going to officiate the defense, and you're going to start running through your football knowledge of what penalties am I going to see? How's he going to get open? Or is he going to, is the defense going to hold them? Is it going to be, is the offense going to push off to get separation? All those wheels start turning on these slides. If your key is not threatened, maybe you look in and find a tight end or a tackle because you have a little coverage. But then you also have to know, is that my go-to guy? Is it 3rd and 3 and they're going to hit him with a slant? Maybe that's the guy they look for. So you're not going to stay on your key, or looking in on the tackle, maybe pick up a chop block and stay with that too long because your key is one of their better players. Do the little things, count and clock, as Tony mentioned, every play. As a back judge, go to all these clinics or everyone says, oh, yep, reset to 40. I don't think you're going to see that 40 all the time, because if you see 40 all the time, you're not officiating, you're dead ball officiating. I like to see it, I usually get up there around 36, and then I make sure that it's moving. Had an incident one game where that was my goal for the year, first game of the year. My goal was to mentally reset the play clock every play. And I did, but then it wasn't moving. And then my referee actually caught that play clock. So I saw it. Hey, we said it was after opening kickoff. It was 40. We're up in Norwich. It was 40. Great. Looked away. And all of a sudden, 5 seconds later, he's blowing a whistle saying, hey, wind that play clock. So I mental note. We go into halftime. I said, yep, that was my goal. Fucked it up. Coming out the second half, the same thing happens. I see it 40, I stayed with the clock, it didn't go. I stopped it and said, hey, we got to line 40 seconds. But I caught my own mistake in the second half. I think that's all on this slide. God bless you. You know, one thing with, like Tom said, when he first started, he talked about regular scrimmage plays. Your pre-snap routine for every position is going to change depending on the situation. You're in the red zone, it's going to get a little tighter. If it's a punt, if it's, you know, pylon plays, you know, there's going to be several pre-snap routines. They're not just cookie cutter, hey, we do this, we do this, we do that. Anyone else want to chime in? These are just some basic stuff, and then we'll get into, you know, the individual positions, what you guys do. End line, same thing. You know, I think the biggest point on these is set up shop, make your call. Punt plays, again, you should have your own mental, you know, pregame for your punts. What happens if the punt breaks down? Same thing with field goals, extra points. Why this is the last one, dead ball activity, personal fouls, finish officiating every play. And we've already touched that, you know, you finish it. I was one of the clinics that I went to, I think it was Jimmy DeBella might have said it, when the ball becomes dead, that's when we become alive. And that's, you know, there are other people, you know, that touch base on that. The dead ball officiating, don't be in a hurry to get the ball rotations, even though pace of play is important. You know, you got to take care of that business before anything else happens, before you get into all your counts, before you do anything other, finish that. That was pretty much how I wanted out of this slides, and all the DPI and all that stuff. So I talked so let's go, Paul, side judge, right? You can just give us your.
Like we said, you know, just take care of that ball officiating, and we're all set. I think position, tight end position. One thing I don't do is back up players. I always keep everybody in front of me. Don't go back to the position. Put my back to any. Back to where I gotta go. Like I said, I'll communicate with Timmy 1 in, 2 out on defense when they're on our side. Usually try to punch it 25 seconds. Look at, you know, got the widest guy, is Mike Keaton. See what he does, break the zone. And just fish it.
Any other side judges?
They got tough. They watch that widest guy.
The side judge you have,
Good. Widest side.
What? You have Fox, right? We have game
Side
5.
judge, yeah.
Side judge has game
He's got
5.
nothing to do. They got nothing.
Oh, you're-
They talk about the
you're-
referees. They got
All right, side judge, who's side judge? You have the clock, right?
thing here.
Just making sure that clock's moving all the time, you know?
I also do, I'll do this, I got a habit to, I'll watch the play clock, just in case, and when it's at 10, I'll start counting in my head. I mean, you don't know if someone's gonna fall asleep, you just wanna make sure we get it right and bang. So I'll start counting it down, and I'll look up, if he's at 1, then, you know, there's still, you know, on the line of scrimmage, if I have to, I'll blow it. I'll delay the game, I still watch the play clock.
And I'll add a couple things. I mean, as a side judge, our biggest concern, of course, is guys in the field. We have to get the count right. So Troy, myself, and Mike, we're always looking at each other, and we're going to make eye contact every time so we know we've got the right numbers. And doesn't mean we're not going to make a mistake, but we know we're on the same page. We can't have 12. So that's, I think, the most important thing we have. The other thing last year, because I went from back judge back to the wings, this really helped me. And I got this a little bit from Z-Man, from some other people. I try to watch the tendency of the defensive backs early in the game, see what they're trying to do so that I can sort of anticipate. So, like we know, we're only watching the wide guy, but we do have 2 or 3 defensive backs that we watch. And it does help me a lot to see how they defend people, so I can anticipate what they're doing. Goes on wide. So you probably do the same thing, I guess.
curious on the clock, what referees want. So I've heard at the higher levels, they're going for this if it's on snap, as opposed to, since it's easier to see this versus.
Doesn't matter, whatever you're comfortable, your referee's comfortable. I have guys give me this.
Yeah.
This. Whatever your referee's comfortable.
What the referee has told you, said
My guys yell at me.
it's an easier distinction from this and this.
90% of the time, Tommy, 90 to 95% of
Thibodeau's the worst.
time, we know where we're going. It's that 1 or 2% that we need your help, you're never there. Right, Tommy? It's a true statement. You guys are doing this, and it's like, yeah, we don't need you. The time we're looking for you, you're not there.
The one other thing I skipped over on this one,
Way to change the subject.
Never such a
you do whatever I tell you to do anyway, so you know that.
You're right.
Pre-snap routine is vital. Develop one that works for your level in your game. Again, like I said, it's not cookie cutter. There's a lot of things, that you got to find what works for you. There was earlier on in this slide, they talked about the mechanics change for the side guys, talking about starting to open up, back pedal. I tried at the clinic to ask Bill Ward, you go to any clinic other than the ECAC, they don't, guys are telling you we don't move. You start at 24 yards and you watch the play as a side judge, and you get pushed. You move when they get pushed. They want you to read the play a little bit longer. They want you starting deeper. You disagree with that, Tony? This was
Our group back. Moving out,
Okay.
snap,
This was down at the Tom Beard Clinic. We had a MAC official on the side, and he said their mechanic they're going for is they're going 24 yards deep for a side judge. They're reading and then backpedaling. They will go. And I just asked Bill, and he said whatever it does to get the play covered. So that was his
My
comment.
personal opinion, honestly, they know what they're doing. We don't know what they're doing. Last thing I'm gonna do is get caught flat-footed. And then I fall on my ass or anything like that, and they're putting by me.
No,
I'm backing up.
And that's what, like I said, they still did it, but they wanted you to start deeper, read the play. The whole, the thing in this guy's slides was 20 to 22.
Yeah.
Go back. So, that's fine. I just asked because I went to the, one clinic and they were just pushing that. We did on-field stuff and they were yelling at you for back, for moving.
Those guys get on you pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm as a back judge, I'm always taking 2 steps and reading the play right off the bat. So I don't agree with, in the middle of, I'm going to start my 25 back and I take a step and a half, a read step, and then I know I'm either going or I'm just watching the play. But along with the pregame, your pre-snap has to, as long as you cover the play, you get all the bases. As a back judge, I'm resetting the clock. I'm making sure it's going. I'm giving my signal. I like, the guys I work with, I always try to get my count out right away. I don't, some guys want it, when they break the huddle and do all that. I like, I also do a lot verbally, yelling across the field to the guys. So anyone else, any other deep guys have anything else you want to add? I'm done.
All right, thanks, Johnny.
You cover everything, Tom?
I believe we have.
Outstanding. Okay, if make a few comments. We've got 47 guys in the group. We got 24 here tonight. We got 2 crews and only 2 guys here. 1 crew with 4 guys, 1 crew with 5 guys. Add upon that, in my opinion, what's happening is we're not synchronized. And you're going to have, I look at this matrix, almost, not everyone, but a lot of games you're gonna have someone out of our chapter. Am I correct? Oh, yeah. Almost every crew's got a hole. So, two things I would like to have you guys think about. One is if Tom and I and others can get the Zoom thing to work. We gotta try to get full cooperation from at least one member of each crew to get it to function. Because you're not gonna get guys coming to meetings. You're gonna have different guys, you know, although back in the day, that we had different guys for every game. So you guys gotta think about your pregame. I mean, if you're gonna have the same guy there every week, he doesn't have to hear certain things, but if you've got a new guy, you gotta come up with some ideas on how you're gonna get him to mesh with the crew. I think it's gonna be a big issue unless you guys think it's hard and work at it. You can make it work, I think. Hopefully Bill will give you some good facilities. Has anybody got any comments on my comments? Am I the only one thinking this?
Be a goober.
I mean, you know, like I said earlier, I know we got families, we got business, we got other things going on, so we can't make these meetings, but you guys gotta do something to communicate amongst at least your crew. I mean, even in regional meetings, you're not attending. So, I told Tom the other day, I think the future of this chapter is gonna be online meetings. Within 5 years, we won't be meeting like this. We won't have face-to-face meetings.
No pizza?
Huh?
Yeah,
Can we-
everybody will come for pizza.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I'm talking about
Oh.
8 meetings.
Okay.
Tastes better online.
So think about it, the crews have got to come up with a plan, I think, on,
How many crews in these?
our chapter has 4. Well, we only got 4 in our chapter.
So we got 4 crews in this chapter. We have every crew represented tonight.
Like I said, we got 2 guys, John Bayback's crew, there's only 2 guys here tonight. Rick Campa, he isn't. There's only 2 guys from his crew here. Tommy Mooney's 4 guys here. And Jimmy Q, 5 guys here. So
Q wins.
now we're all hearing what we're talking about tonight. You know, these guys, Danny, Tom, John, and Jeff Muha, you can't believe how much work Jeff Muha's put into this. So we're getting a lot of good stuff for you to chew on. But if you're not present or you can't, get the word, we're not gonna be successful. So I think that each crew's got to take it upon himself to come up with some way that if someone's absent at meetings, can't make meetings, that you got to come up with some kind of communication device, especially during the season. Now, this scheme that Tommy's got, if we get it to work, you can send film clips over it, right, Tom? So if you get a clip from your game, you can talk about it. So there's all kinds of potential. So that's my speech. Okay. You all set?
Hey, Biz.